Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to my COVID-19 series. I apologize, I've been missing for quite a long while. I was extremely busy in the hospital, as you can imagine. Additionally, I was traveling quite a bit for research and work, so I wasn't able to put out any videos. Recently, I've been getting a lot of questions regarding a new vaccine that was developed by Moderna Pharmaceuticals, and I thought I'll make a quick video about this, explaining how this vaccine works and what are the possible consequences of what could be done over the next few months. The vaccine that has been designed by Moderna Pharmaceuticals is a very specific type of vaccine. In order for us to understand how that particular vaccine works, we need to see how a vaccine in general plays a part in immunity. So here we have a virus particle that is in our bloodstream and it's in our body. And here is a type of cell that we have, which is one type of many immune cells in the body called a macrophage. And what the job of a macrophage is to ingest or eat the viral particles. And then in a process called antigen presentation, the job of the macrophage is to present those virus particles to other cells in the body that will help in immunity. So the macrophage will eat the particle and then break it up into small pieces and then present them on these receptors that are able to be identified by other cells in the body. So here we have a different type of cell called a T cell. T cell is another type of immune cell in the body that is identifying that the viral particle is being presented to it by the macrophage. And what that does is that this addition of, or this interaction between these two cells, the macrophage and the T cell and the macrophage, is going to cause a proliferation of the T cells. And this proliferation will, in essence, increase the army that will help protect the human body. Now, the next thing that comes to mind is how is an antigen, which is the name given to a viral particle, how is that antigen introduced into the body? There are multiple ways that can happen naturally. You get infected with a virus, but then you become immune to it for the rest of your life. In other ways, when we actually give a passive, vaccine to patients, that like the influenza vaccine, for that we actually give a small piece of the virus, which is not going to cause the disease itself, but it is going to activate these T cells and proliferate them and help with immunity. The third way that you can do is that you can take the actual virus, not a particle, the full virus, kill it, and then inject it into the body. Now, the virus is in your bloodstream, but it is killed, so it can't cause the disease. But being in the bloodstream, it does attract the macrophages, it does attract the T cells, and that's how the T cells get proliferated again, and they cause the immunity against that virus. Let us now talk about Moderna Pharmaceuticals in particular and discuss the vaccine that they have created. Just a brief history, Moderna is a relatively new pharmaceutical company that I think was established in 2018. And when the board of directors were having their meetings and deciding which direction to take the company in terms of drug development and vaccine development, there are multiple ways that you can actually devise a new medication or a new drug. Moderna tried to focus their attention on the central dogma, which is DNA to RNA to protein sort of mechanism, which, if you were into stocks, and the financial system, worked out really well for them because they took a gamble and it worked out in their favor so far that they were able to develop a vaccine, which currently is the front runner in terms of a vaccine for COVID-19. So what exactly is the central dogma? Let's talk about that. Some people call it the central dogma of biology. At other places, you may see it written as the central dogma of molecular biology. What it boils down to is this simple principle. There's the DNA, which is a double strand of a molecule, it is transcribed into a different type of molecule called an RNA. That is a single-stranded molecule. And this RNA is then turned into a structure, which is the protein. And a protein is primarily what living organisms are made up of. All the antigens that I talked about earlier, which were the viral particles and were processed by macrophages and then presented to T cells, all those antigens are proteins, or most of them are. So if somehow we can inject this protein into the body and cause an immune reaction to occur, that is a potential type of vaccine that we have developed. Now, what Moderna is doing is it's taking the RNA, incorporating it into a lipid bilayer that makes it easier to interact with the cells of the body and then get taken up by the same cells. Now, the mRNA is going to get incorporated into our human cells, and then the machinery of the human cells is going to produce those the proteins that are actually a part of the virus. And when the cells, they spit out these viral particles, they will then get recognized by macrophages and T cells. And one type of cell that I forgot to mention earlier is a B cell. So T cells and B cells and macrophages and a bunch of other cells, they're all part of the immune system. So when our human cells are going to spit out the viral particles, the T cells and the B cells and the macrophages and the dendritic cells and a bunch of other immune cells are going to recognize those antigen particles and develop an immune response against them. Now, the good thing about this type of vaccine is that it's very fast and it's very adaptable. The most effective vaccine ever is a live vaccine, but since you're injecting a live virus into the human body, it has a bunch of adverse effects. The mRNA vaccine, shows a lot of potential because it's very safe as far as we know, and it can be adapted really easily, and the production of the vaccine itself can be very fast. And that is why Moderna has been taking this approach, because the predictions are the way the world is headed with population and pollution and humans kind of just expanding into the wilderness. There are going to be more and more epidemics and pandemics that come our way. So we need a very fast approach against these viral and bacterial diseases so we can counter them before a lot of lives are lost. So I hope this was a quick and dirty refresher on how vaccines work and how, particularly how mRNA vaccines work. And I don't have any, personal gains from Moderna Pharmaceuticals, or I don't own any stock in the company, or I don't get any money from them. I just wanted to bring this up because I was getting a lot of questions. Just a few days ago, news came out that Moderna will be doing a phase 3 trial of this vaccine in July, I think, and I thought I'll bring up a small video and explain how the vaccine works. I know a bunch of you asked me about phase 1, 2, 3, 4 trials, and I will probably make another short video in a few days and talk about what those trials are. So look out for that video. But for now, this was a quick refresher. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, any comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section below, or reach out to me via email, or I'm also quite active on Twitter. You can do that, and stay safe out there, and hopefully the phase 3 trial in July brings us some better and more hopeful news about a new vaccine that may potentially be a life-saving drug when it comes to COVID-19. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Stay safe.